All right, welcome back. Talking about the Steelers, a lot of debate over who they should pick in the first round of the draft. I want to throw out a quote. Colin, I want you to listen to it and react to it. Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus. He says, if you draft a running back in the first round, you will have a top 10 pick in next year's draft to take a quarterback because running backs do not help you win football games. But there are elite running backs available. Would the Steelers be well off to take one? Should they?
No. I don't always agree with Pro Football Focus, and actually I disagree with them a lot more than I agree with them. I don't know if they'll draft in the top 10 because I don't know if Ben Roethlisberger will ever allow them to draft in the top 10. He'll get them through a season where they'll be somewhere in the middle. They should not draft a running back. They should draft an offensive lineman, and then maybe again an offensive lineman in the second round. This is the year. Look, you can maybe sell it to me. I don't like it. If you do draft one, he better be plug and play from day one. I don't want this nonsense competing with Benny Snell or McFarland or somebody. If you draft him, he needs to be the horse. He needs to be the big dog from the moment he walks in here. Still, though, whether it's Etienne or whether it's a kid from Alabama, I don't like it. I think you can find a scrap heap running back. I think you have to rebuild that line, and you got to start it right now.
Here's the thing. First of all, I mean, anybody that makes a statement that definitive about anything, this Steve Palazzolo should find a new profession because obviously he doesn't understand football and shouldn't be talking about it. Okay, so what is this guy? Right? So wait, what is this guy? What is this guy saying basically? You'd rather have Benny Snell than Najee Harris or some other guy? Come on. If you have a hole at running, I mean, in general, Colin, I agree with you. In general, I would rather not take a running back in the first round. I think you can find some guys. But if you have a guy who is clearly better than everybody else, and you have a glaring hole at running back, why wouldn't you take that? Why would you not draft a running back, fill the one hole you have? And here's the other thing. Ask this Steve Paluzzo guy, or whatever his name is, ask him if the Tennessee Titans would make the playoffs the last 2 years if they had Joe Schmo, the average running back, instead of Derrick Henry. Please, stop with this guy. Stop.
Well, I will say this. I think offensive line is the single biggest issue for the Steelers by far. I would strongly suggest 2 of their first 3 picks be offensive linemen. It's tough, though, right? Because the Steelers love to be in that position where they can take the best player. And that's usually a pretty healthy mindset to have in a draft. But this offensive line is such of a problem. It cannot be ignored. I don't know how they feel about certain running backs. If they're really in love with Najee Harris, if they really think he's another Le'Veon Bell or whatever, okay, I don't have a huge problem with it. But Le'Veon Bell had a really good offensive line to run behind. I don't think he would have become the player he did if he didn't have that line. So unless they really are in love with one of these guys, I have to think going offensive line, preferably for me, left tackle. They haven't had a big-time left tackle in a while. Right. There's some good ones in this draft. They really need one bad.
Here's the thing, Josh, though. Left tackle at 24, you're not getting a guy that's like going to be a dominating. Those guys are golden. They're like quarterbacks. They go off the board first. The guys that are really good left tackles.
But centers.
You might be able to get the center, but I don't know about drafting a center in the first round either. To me,
right, because they didn't draft Marquise Pouncey, who was like a generational.
I mean, of course.
And they right now have J.C. Hassenauer as the center.
Listen, there's one guy who's a center in this draft that's graded, and I don't even know if he's graded as high as Marquise Pouncey was. So I have a hard time believing he'll be there at 24. Now, if you want to make the argument that you could trade back 7, 8 spots, get a running back, and add another third-round pick to address some other things, I might listen to that. But you're not going to get a left tackle that is ready to play and be a dominating player from day one at 24. So you're going to have to move up. If you're okay moving up, trading a pick or whatever or 2, whatever you got to do to move up to go get one, then okay, I'm all right with that. But I think at 24, you've got about 4 areas you need to fill and get the best player in those 4 areas.
I promise this, I have 20 seconds, so please give me an answer. Over, under. 9 wins is the Vegas total on the Steelers. I know there's a draft to come and they could add more players, but as you see it right now, let's talk, Josh. Over, under 9.
I would say under. That schedule is nasty.
Colin?
Even. 9 and 8. They're going to be. It's going to be on that number. They'll be 9 and 8 this year.
That's right, 17. Paul.
Great defense. Najee Harris in the backfield. Ben there. I like 11 wins. 11 and 6 is what I'm calling.
I like that. All right, we're going to take a break. We have more. Talk about the Pirates coming up next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.